the EA-ification of games, something that you are feeling very strongly right now as you play through Mass Effect 3,
Oh, yep. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Like that Dead Space and Mass Effect were right
Yeah.
next to each other as like little sister franchises, as they literally just went along the same. Hey, put more shooting in it. Put more shooting in it. More shooting. More DLC.
Yeah. Yeah. I will dude, Mass Effect. I mean, unless there's anything else to say on Callisto, uh I have some thoughts on Mass Effect.
I have some thoughts on Mass Effect. But
Okay.
let's go with you first.
Well, I mean, when I saw the changes from 1 to 2, I was like, "Oh yeah, okay. Lean towards action, right? This is what we're doing."
Radial wheel is gone.
Yep,
You know,
we're trying to, this is the era. This is what it needs to become. This is what games are. This is what gamers want. We walked into a room that you take, it's the tutorial room where the turret is shooting at you in the beginning,
yeah.
and like, I mean, it feels almost box for box like a room in Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Yeah.
Like, the DXHR-ness is dropped in a very feelable way, and that era, it makes sense. You can feel they put that in, and you're doing the round the corner bits, so you can do, you know, some shit that's a bit more Adam Jensen, you know, from surface to surface, and then you and then like that's as you get out of that, and then you go into a roadie run, you know, to get to the next room, and you're like, yeah, man, EA is just, they're just, you know, they're taking
Like, I recently
the
went through,
zeitgeist apart and putting the pieces in.
I recently went through like the Arkham games and the BioShock games, and you're doing Dead Space and Mass Effect, and it's just like, it's crazy how similar everything in that 4 or 5 year period came out was. Like, they
Yeah.
are all the same game over and over.
Now, what's interesting though is that, like, for shooter, it's hard to say, because for shooters, like, you're seeing these flavors, and I'm like, they aggressively remind me of each other in a lot of ways. But when games have quality of life improvements, you want to see those move forward in a genre, right? If someone makes a good decision in a game, that becomes like a convenient thing, that should follow through down the line, so that others don't have to, you know, continue to stumble over that.
Right.
Now, there's stuff where it's like, okay, not every game needs to have a quick reload mini game, but
come on.
but that was fun, right? That was cool. I really liked that. Not every game is gonna have a fucking just snappy ass, sick ass reload animations, even, you know. But it's nice when you see them. But the feeling of like running into the room, or seeing like like, again, the Deus Ex into the Gears of War moment, and like at this point too, like with the sort of like charge into power geyser, into, you know, like full on combos, and then a melee blast and shit, and you're like, okay, this barely resembles Mass Effect 1 in any way, shape, or form. The RPG is almost completely gone at this point. It's like
gone.
There's no art. That entire stretch is like, there's no RPG left here.
You know why? Because it's war, brother. It's war.
Yeah.
And then so you get, like, you start that off, and like right away, like, Mass Effect 3's opening was so intensely disappointing to me for a number of reasons. But it's something I've complained about before, but I don't think you had the context to appreciate it. I'm like, hey, you said you had something really special to do with Earth, that we're gonna see Earth, and here comes Mass Effect 3. Hey, we get to see what Earth looks like, and we're leaving. And we're leaving because war.
So, interestingly, I didn't, of course, know that until I was grabbing... You know what? Here's what I found out about the Earth. When I was grabbing the wallpaper to post for, hey, we're streaming now, And then I pulled up. I was looking for a decent one, and one of them had Shepard overlooking the Reaper fall, and it said "Save the Earth" on it for like promotional material. And I was like, oh. Oh, I guess that's what they're promoting. I guess that's the title screen.
Yeah,
okay,
that was
wow,
all the trailers where like the Earth is under attack.
Yeah, so I mean, that's great. I like a cold experience, you know. And yeah, you see Vancouver for a second, and then you're out. And I was admittedly when we were there too, I was kind of like, oh, I was talking about how, you know, the Earth is almost like an offhanded little mention in the first game, and in the second game, you know, there's a bit more as you get that DLC, but. Earth shouldn't be that important because these are people that might not even be from Earth. It's no longer like the human, you know, the Citadel is the most important thing, right? So yeah, like we should like the like undue amounts of attention would probably be unnecessary, except that the player as a human being on Earth would want to know about it.
I care about Earth because I'm from Earth.
Right. And then one scene later we're out, and I was like, oh, okay. Cool.
And it's like the interview really set me up for disappointment because like we have something really special planned for Earth, and it's like, is it the tutorial? I guess it's the tutorial.
Vent Kid in Vancouver Vent Kid.
Oh yeah, that kid, the kid.
Do it for him.
Someone said, blown up.
Someone said, now that a white child has died, you know the stakes are real.
Woolie. So you're in it enough. You're in it enough that I can finally point out, dude, you blew up a planet the last time you sat down. Didn't bat an eyelash. Right? You've killed
NBD
tens of thousands of mercs and aliens on others, right? And the Reapers are in they are like glassing like sizes of the Earth that are the size of US states in front of you. Oh, that kid though. Oh man, kid, he didn't make it.
Man.
Oh man.
No, it's close to home.
It's
close to home.
So
don't make me
ridiculous.
Don't make me time to kill it once again.
Also, if your Shepard is like Red Shepard, like or like not your Red Shepard, but like Renegade Shepard, like they look disassociative for caring. Like it doesn't even make any sense. Like Renegade Shepard would like shoot a reporter in the mouth for asking him an annoying question. Meanwhile, some kid he doesn't know gets blown up in a transport ship.
Again, the thing is that the box art paragon is, you know, every decision hurts them, right? Even when it's necessary, you do what you have to do. But God damn it, I didn't want to. Cool. Now you're telling me. So you're telling me that the Reapers and the Batarians are now a thing, and that there's Reaper-fied Batarians. Like, how hard can a trigger be pulled? Was there even any convincing that need to happen? And furthermore, how much popcorn can I get when I watch their planet go down? Like, can we just
welcome to the Batarians are gone. Like that you read the codex, like they're basically just completely gone.
Yeah, no, I think so. The episode title, I think, for that one is Reapers versus Batarians. Whoever loses, we big E popcorn.gif.
Yeah. However, you're starting to hit, like, if you want to talk about like the loss of RPG stuff, like the codex for stuff like that presents like a real like plot problem, which is the biggest problem with the Reapers are coming is the Reapers are fucking 1,000-foot tall invincible spaceships. So how am I supposed to fight them in this third-person shooter?
Yes, exactly.
And the answer is we're gonna just make a bunch of monsters to fill out the roster while the guys are the big monsters in the background.
But I'm glad that the Titans are walking through the city.
Right. No, that is easily the coolest part.
I was really worried that it would be too hard to commit to that, And so we would just kind of have to fight Reaper detachment fleets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For a while until you hit the button on MacGuffin Town. And
So-
I'm glad that the Titans are walking through the city. Like, I
So
want that.
Before I continue, how far have you gotten in the game?
I mean, it really just the intro. Like, we did the intro. We saw Tim show his true colors, right?
Yeah.
And then after getting introduced to fucking traps.
Oh, yeah,
James.
Freddie Prinze Jr., actually.
Freddie, yeah. After getting introduced to Freddie Prinze Jr., who apparently whatever ship he's in also takes on his body qualities because he can just ram it and like be fine.
Yeah.
You know, so that was cool. And then the Terminatrix showed up, and then we basically sat down to read the codex after that, which are now in the journal page. Interestingly.
So yeah, I don't get it. So there's a single codex detail that some people miss. That burned a hole in my mind years ago, right when I first started playing it, before I fell off of it. That's really important for you to remember and think about whenever you go hang out, talk to people at the Citadel, hang out on the ship, have a drink, do a mini game. The Earth is losing 1 million lives a day.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
And I feel like making the game during the active war instead of them being right outside the door is a massive, massive problem, because every time you do anything that isn't related to the war effort, you're being the most sick-ass freak in the world, because it's 1 million people a day on Earth alone.
Right. I'm going to see how this plays out, right? But I can only imagine that, like, the situation you would be in. Well, you, Anderson, Hackett, basically the leaders of humanity at this point, you know, for what it's worth. Like, I would imagine that you're just completely round the clock, nonstop, no sleep, insane, stressed out war room 24/7 mode. You know,
you would think, right?
You would think.
But instead, there's time to walk around the ship and be like, where's my toys?
Grab some asses.
Where's my toys?
Play a little grab ass on the Normandy.
who my fish okay? Where my action figures go?
It's still Mass Effect. Yeah. No, that's the thing too, is like the process, it seems, has started and then it fades out. As if to imply, like, and that's what happened to Earth. And then the codec entry pops up and says, the fall of Earth, you know?
Yeah.
But that's a lot of people. That's a couple billions to get through. And they're not just killing everybody. They're trying to hamburger them. So, you know.
Hamburger them into, like, you know, goo monsters.
Yeah, so it's going to take a while to do the processing. So, like, this is an ongoing situation, no doubt. But besides that, again, what new asses can we grab? What's going on? What colors we got today? Pull out the flip book, check off the colors, you know. With that, I unsurprisingly, there's been a change, you know. Red Shepard has returned, and
so I want you to explain to me exactly how this works.
It's really not that complicated. It's there's been a lot of speculation as to.
Don't believe you.
There's been a lot of speculation as to what was he think. It's really simple. The most people in watching this would enjoy that, so I wanted to do the thing that more people would get hype over. End of story. It's not a complicated decision. There's no 3, 4, 5 levels of this is what he did. He hated the ending. Therefore, no. More people would get hype if Red Shepard returned. So I decided to do that instead. That's it.
I still
and they were
it's not complicated, but I need you to actually explain to me how it works.
I announced I was going to play Mass Effect 2 and 3 since I never played 1. And since we never played 1 on the channel, but I played 1 in my own time back in the day, I said, okay, we'll have Reggie get through that, and then I'll do 2 and 3 because I'd like to experience those games. And that hasn't really changed. But at the end of 1, the part where I kind of announced the plan in advance didn't really matter. People were very attached and loved the playthrough, and it was a really great one. So when I jumped in and wanted to play the game, there was a feeling that I shouldn't do that because we should continue the thing. And I get that. You watch the thing that you enjoy, and that's cool. And it doesn't, my intent being declared in advance doesn't matter as much per se than the thing you're making. But I enjoyed playing as Blue nonetheless. And then when it came down to it, after that, I was like, well, I still want to do 3, and I, want to do, but like, I feel that despite that desire to play it, the amount of people that really get hype to see Red Shepard is really high, and people were very excited. So they really, I want people to tune in and enjoy the thing. So I made a decision.
That's not actually the explanation I was looking for, though I do appreciate it. What I mean is in terms of the game's story and you switching between these characters, literally, how does it work? Because Red didn't carry over to 2, but is Blue carrying over to 3? But isn't it Red now?
In canon?
Yeah.
In universe, you mean?
When you're playing when Reggie's playing Mass Effect 3, is Malin's data gonna be there or not?
Oh, no. Okay, sorry. Okay, I was confused. I'm like, in universe, who cares? We're just swapping controllers, whatever. In terms of the what's happening, it's exactly the save you saw on screen, with the exception of obviously a Garrus romance wasn't possible.
Right.
So I asked Reggie who he'd want to go with, and then he picked Tally. So that's the swap, but everything else is pretty much identical to what Blue did.
Okay, so let me try and break this down. Mass Effect 1 was Red Shepard as Reggie. Or sorry, Reggie as Red Shepard, rather.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
However, moving on from that, it was you as Blue Shepard with your own series of choices in Mass Effect 1.
No. I used Reggie's choices.
Wasn't Rex dead?
No.
No? Okay. So you used...
I tagged Reggie, passed the baton over to me. I continued Red's choices with Blue.
Okay, so you continued Red's choices. Then you used the mod that combined all the characters into one character?
No,
at some point
I just went Vanguard. We didn't keep that. That was the first session.
I was about to say, and then you moved on to just being Vanguard.
Sorry, yes.
Right. And now you're going forward with Red as Red. I keep saying it like that. That's so strange. Reggie as Red, but dealing with Blue's choices.
Yes.
Right. And then for Citadel, want you to go back to Blue?
So that I put that out there just based on the fact that in my head, if it's a cool little send-off, then it would be a fun thing to do. But I'm not committed to that in the sense that if it doesn't work, if it doesn't make sense, if there's problems, which there seem to be, because some people are like, oh, that's cool, but a lot of people have made it very clear at this point that it won't work as cleanly as you think it will. There's reasons to probably stick with the main character you played in 3 to go into it. So I'm not committed to that. I put that out there in the episode as hey, this is a cool thing that I think would be fun. But in my head, all I know is Citadel is a little epilogue. So it's just like, if it's something where it would make sense and it would feel cool to do that, it would be a little send off where we have both characters in the final third game. And that's all I thought. I was just like, okay, it'd be cool to do that. But obviously, not knowing what's coming, people are like, that might not be a good idea for these and that. And there's a whole feeling, and that I've gotten the energy. So I'm like, all right, then we don't have to do that,
So, Woolie, I'm going to speak to you. I've been friends with you for a long time, but I'd like to speak to you purely as your colleague right now.
Sure.
You have lost your damn mind playing through Mass Effect in this bizarre ass way. I was talking to Paige about it, and she came up with an analogy that I thought might be the best analogy for this type of behavior I've ever seen. You are reading a choose your own adventure book back to front in terms of weirdo shit. This is the strangest thing I have ever seen. Now, moving back to also being your friend, switching back for Citadel is going to be a fucking weird experience, and I really don't recommend it.
Of course, other people have said as such, like I just said, right? Now, in terms of all of the rest of that, at the end of the day, it's a video game trilogy that I think I'm doing what I think would be fun on the channel. That's about it.
I want only one thing out of you.
It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be over. Fucking. It doesn't need to be that serious. It's really just I'm doing what I think is fun.
Oh no, totally. But when I see this, I go, "What? Have you lost your damn mind?"
Yeah.
There's only one thing. I don't think you have the grounds to stand on in the future. When somebody asks you about watch order for something and you roll your eyes and go, well, obviously just start at episode 1 and roll through.
Not at all. I didn't play this out of order. We're experiencing the games in the chronological order. That's
you're not even playing it in order at all in some cases.
But I am playing it in order of 1, 2, 3. Watch order has nothing to do.
You're not.
No, but 1, 2.
Reggie's playing it in terms of 1, 3, and you're playing it in case of 2.
But we're playing it together, and we're experiencing the story in chronological order. That makes no sense. That has nothing to do with the conversation. I'm experiencing the first game first, then the second game second, and the third game third. Part of doing LPs with people is you play games together. Sometimes, if you're not on the controller, you're experiencing the story at the same time, but you're not playing it. In this case, I'm still going through the game chronologically. I'm getting this, that's not the same as a watch order thing.
This feels about as insane as those weird Star Wars watch orders.
No, it really isn't. I'm getting the first game first, the second game second, and the third game third. You're making shit up. That's not it.
I'm not making anything up. This is my opinion.
Okay. It's not parallel. Like, if I were to jump in to the future and then fuck around in that way, then I'd get it. But, like, in this case, it's really just having fun with the characters and choices. I also was, when I was thinking about how early on, too, this is a game where obviously there's tons of choices and shit like that. But, like, the parts where there's really cool, fem shep, like, only content, and there's really cool male shep only content and stuff. I was like, I don't like, it would be unorthodox, but like if we're switching controllers off, I'm like, at least we get in a little bit of both in there. At least we get to see a bit of, Garrus romance. You get to see a little bit of Jen Hale. You get to see a little bit of this and that and stuff, So I'm like, at least by the end, we kind of experience a overall sort of unique amount of content otherwise. Now, of course, I understand that, like, sacrificing the canonicity of one person's, full-on trilogy is that does go secondary. But in terms of just making a fun thing to watch on YouTube, I think this is pretty fun. I wouldn't have done it otherwise, But I did, and I still do, like, I like being able to experience a game like that for the first time with the controller on, obviously, but I just, I did what I thought would be hype. And I think I was correct in that the pop-off was insane. People were fucking, throwing up, like, people were going nuts, like, holy shit. And I was like, yeah, great. That's what I wanted. I wanted a huge pop-off, and I want to go into this and we're expecting all kinds of wacky things to come. I know that it ends on a weird note, and there's Kai Lengs and all kinds of nonsense that come in.
Oh, have you met Kai?
I saw him walk up next to Tim in one cutscene, and I had no idea he was Tim's ninja, and I lost my shit because that makes him.
Never come up?
I didn't know his job in that regard. So now that I know his job, it's even funnier how lame he is. So that's hilarious. But all this to just wrap up and say that by the end of this, man, I think we're gonna have a classic, fun, all-time LP of this game. It's gonna be a weird one, but it's gonna be full of some wild shit. And I like how Reggie can crucify me on my choices, and I can crucify him, and we can go back and forth, and everyone can see the difference in dynamics, but also like the insanity of the way we play is in different ways. It's a fun thing, man. I'm happy to do it this way at the end.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not fun. I just want you to admit that you're nuts.
It's a completely unorthodox, wild ass way to do it because it's not a 2-player game. It's not meant to be a 2-player game at all. But to me, it's a more fun way to do it, you know? So that's it. That's about it.
By the way, don't listen to anybody who tells you that veteran is the new normal or whatever the fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Normal
yeah, it was accidentally on Insanity, and I was like, let's just take it down to normal. And furthermore, I had a chance to get used to the system in 2 as it's changed from 1. Reggie hasn't, so he needs to take a second to get used to the new active combat system, the combos, the stacking, you know, all of that shit. So, like, we're going to just keep it normal at the end of the day. So, yeah, you know, that's it. And I kind of think too, like, the way this game is, I mean, obviously it's anytime I play a beloved game, I know that it's going to have the most magnifying glasses and people are going to have the most opinions on it and shit like that.
Right.
Like, there's a part of this where I definitely considered too that I was like, if I wanted to be, in my opinion, boring about it, I could have just played on my own off camera in the background and then waited till I completed the trilogy and then went, here, we'll start with like Reggie going through it or something like that. And then that could have been one way to do it. But I didn't want to wait that long. And I kind of thought that was, you know, I thought this way sounded a bit more fun. So it's insane. It's an insane way to do it because it's not the way anyone else experienced it.
Thank you. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
But this is one of the rare games, what I was trying to get to, this is one of the rare games where I think that the double blind playthrough makes it better because the game, it's not like you're not gonna get stuck running in a fucking dungeon for an hour. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be about your choices and the RPG is gonna move forward regardless. So when it comes to romance and it comes to friendships and who you save and who you don't and shit like that, you know, games like that, almost like Telltale games, are great for double blind, you know? When it's a Souls game, it works best single blind and then Sherpa, you know? But like genres that are more story driven, that are not going to be about like getting lost in you know, Anor Londo, yeah, I think it's better to do it that way.
How you liking it overall? I noticed we didn't actually get to that part.
Oh yeah, no, I wanted to, because I expected people to be like confused, but I didn't expect as much like speculation on like the theory crafting, you know, on it's like, oh, Woolie hated playing it, he didn't want it anymore. It was just like, nah, man, it's really simple. Occam's razor.
The first thought that jumped in my head when I saw that, I'm like, wow, you really don't want to have to deal with Manlin's data, huh?
Yeah, no, it really. yeah. Someone was like, "Oh, what a way to bitch out of the consequences of your actions." I'm like, I don't know what those consequences are, but no, really, I just thought it would be hype and people would be hype. That's it. I still want to play, but I want to make people enjoy it more than I want to play. My desire to have the LP be really good for fun for people is higher than my desire to play it myself. That's it. It didn't start that way, but it became that way, and that's why we're here. I feel so far that the decision to make the combat combo stack shit just throw it to the fucking limit is awesome.
It's one of the weirder things where like the RPG elements get way worse as you play through the games, but the actual part where you play the shooting parts get way better.
It does seem like they're doubling down on the genre, they're doubling down on the era. But yeah, the synergy of being able to like now use elemental contrasts to,
Mhm.
you know, you build your team out so you freeze somebody and then you pop them with fire, or you biotic and electro, like that shit. The combo stuff is really cool. I love that. And it was already nice that you could use your partner's abilities to kind of circumvent cooldown restrictions in 2. But
Mhm.
now that they're like, hold on, how badly do you want to go nuts with your powers? Because if you want, you can use your
You
partner's
can.
abilities, but you can also carry less guns.
So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I carried like the bare minimum, like maybe a shotgun, and Vanguard's like a Dragon Ball character.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It
it's really
feels
strange.
it feels like they had a decent think about it, you know? Um Now I don't know what it's like for other classes, but I can only imagine if you're summoning and detonating robot drones and then resummoning them instantly, that you're
Mhm.
also just dominating the battlefield from afar while
Right.
sniping or something. You know what I mean? Like I could see the way that um, committing to a gun, maximum cooldown, building things out in a way where you can either um, do the most damage on one. You know, the spread feels like if you can target them running into the room, that's where the hit the most enemies thing will benefit you. But then otherwise, once they split up, you kind of are like, okay, let's do some damage. Yeah, it feels like they thought about it. Now, the only thing I need to see is just like what kind of teammates are you going to get, and will their power distributions be like synergistic? You know, um, if you need an
I don't know
ice and a
about
fire combo
I don't know about
and so on.
synergistic, but when I was playing, there were team members that were like definitive winners.
Mm.
Uh, I'm not even gonna mention, but like there's a team member from the old games that you get to play with again, and they just win fights by themselves.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. It's quite interesting to see this choice because Mass Effect really started as a KOTOR analog, and
Yeah. How do we have the gameplay work that's not turn based? We'll make it shooting, but it's stop and pop, so it's kind of turn based.
yeah, and because guns are more like guns got better to shoot between the KOTOR years
Oh
and
man, it's
2000 and whatever,
go
right?
go go play anything. Chat and people listening at home, go play any shooter released between like 2005 and like 2009, and see how they're all just wanting to catch up to RE4.
Mm,
Like all of them are just like, well, how do we make it feel as good to shoot and reload the gun as RE4? Nope, didn't do it.
yeah.
Shit,
So
try again.
so the idea of like shooting is really just a fancy lightsaber or stick in KOTOR is like, yeah, fair enough. You know, it would have felt like shit if you actually had to stop and aim with these terrible controls. But everything else was like, no, but we're doing it our own way this time, you know? And then where we are now barely resembles KOTOR at all, you know?
Now it
Um,
feels more like fucking Dead Space.
sure. Sure. And um and we'll see where it goes conversationally, but I will say that like they've streamlined things in such a way that there's always the top to bottom conversation flow that you kind of do, but like the way KOTOR did dialogue, like it was not afraid to just put a list of 10 things to select, which is also the way Disco does it kind of thing, right? Just here's all the subjects to cover,
Hmm.
and Mass Effect wants to give you that in some places, but also wants bored gamers to just be able to say the thing and move on. So it feels as if conversation is, like simplified compared to what that KOTOR situation sort of was
Yeah,
over time. So, um, yeah, the DNA is just unrecognizable. You know.
it's you get more change between 1 and 3 in some aspects than other games got to their like pseudo not really sequels. Like by like like spiritual sequels. Like what like two if two didn't exist, you'd swear that three was made by a completely different team.
Right, right. And here's what's crazy though. It's for the most part that I get the changes, and the combat stuff especially feels really good. Again, the blatant copy moments are they're blatant, but it's not the same as I feel like other franchises where we've turned it on its head and now everyone hates it. You know, it didn't go over as poorly as a reinvention as it could have. Certainly, you know, there's stuff where, yeah, I mean, like, well, for example, like here's another EA game, Mirror's Edge, right, where you get a real shift and flip in priorities from the two games. And if there was a third one, God knows, you know, how far that would have changed from two. But
you know,
this is one of the most evolving, most changed from its original game trilogies I've ever seen, and it's generally accepted.
If you want to see, and I know it's not really your wheelhouse in terms of genre, but if you want to see the EA thing happen lightning fast, right? You need to go play Dragon Age 1 and 2.
So how do those games
it is mythic. it is like legitimately unbelievable. It is the only thing. So Dragon Age 2 has quality stuff. Like there is stuff in it of value, right? But it is like a meteoric drop in quality, and it is a very, very different game. It's so strange. It's so fucking weird.
It's like I don't I'm trying to think of examples, you know, where you just see like moments that are like in one game. Okay, so here I have an example, right? When in the original Jet Set Radio, spray painting is a little mini game that you do with and you trace the shapes of the size of the graffiti you're trying to paint. And in Jet Set Radio Future, it's like they decided that was a mistake, and that should not be part of the game. So really, it's just press the button and then you successfully tag. That's it, you know. And I kind of liked those mini games, but they took a core mechanic and went, oh yeah, we shouldn't have done that. Remove it. Let's just get it. Let's just lean in on the grinding. Does Dragon Age kind of like reinvent the wheel?
No, that's not what's happening at all.
Okay.
Dragon Age. Okay, man. I'm going to hit you with a little history lesson because this is the most fascinating thing, because it's the EA-ification of games. Dragon Age Origins is, hey, Baldur's Gate, those games were pretty good. We're not going to be able to make a new Baldur's Gate because those games are back in their own time. And this is before Larian, right? But we'd like to make a classic Western RPG like the olden days. So we're going to make Dragon Age Origins, and the big selling point is the origin, whereas the start of your character is going to be like the first whole chapter of the game is going to be completely different, and then that'll have knock-on effects. So if you have a dwarf noble, the first 5 hours of the game is the dwarf noble storyline, and then it'll affect you onwards, yada yada. And it was a very, very good, very classic style, like computer RPG done in like the Baldur's Gate style. It was excellent. It definitely has a problem here or there, but it's excellent. And then what happened was that the PC was the main SKU on Dragon Age Origins, but the console versions outsold it a lot. Like the console versions of Dragon Age Origins sold like crazy.
Okay.
And so the message from on high comes down, get rid of this like slot in your abilities on 1 to 10 and then adapt it for the controller stuff. No, we're going to make this play like a controller-based video game. So auto attack is now moved to a button, and there's no such thing as auto attack. It's hit, attack, because you're fighting, man. And then part 2 comes down that says, also, you have 11 and a half months to make the sequel.
Of course. Classic EA fucking situation.
So
yeah.
it has to be awesome. And one of the like weird dev taglines was every time you hit a button, something awesome has to happen. And I'm like,
Okay.
it's a goddamn squad RPG. You play from the top person. Are you fucking nuts? That doesn't make any sense. And so it's like super weirdly actiony for no reason. Like you're just hitting the button. And it's super like bombastic, but also with like the ugliest art change ever.
Do you press the button to begin combat mode, or do you press the button to swing your sword once?
Swings.
Okay.
And but here's the part where it's like it's otherwise kind of the same system. They just moved auto attack to your buttons.
Okay.
And they're like, well, we don't have enough money to make new environments, so like have every single side quest environment in the whole game take place in the same like 8 caves and basements and shit like that.
Do it in a year, guys. Yeah, sure.
And then they went, hey, you know what? All that those dialogue things, that's old fashioned. You know what came out that ruled? Mass Effect. You know what you guys need to do? You need to put the dialogue wheel in a classic old style CRPG. But instead, we think, people complained, Woolie. People complained that Shepard doesn't always say what I think he's going to say.
Yep. True.
So,
True.
Do you know what the solution to that is going to be? The solution is going to be, let's not have it say anything. Let's just have it be like a funny face or like a heart or like a fist.
Oh my god, fuck off. An icon?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, that's a million times more frustrating.
It sure is. And then if you like hold on it for a couple seconds, then I think the dialogue shows up as to like what it's going to be. But it's like vibe button.
What kind of vibe do you want to throw out? Yeah. Oh,
and have you?
Jesus
Oh man,
Christ.
let me get a fucking screenshot of this.
That is like as far away as you can get from the thing we like. That is these are all the things you can say. You know, that is the furthest end of the slider from what is the nature of a man.
I want a photo of this fucking thing.
Jesus Christ.
There it is. It does. Oh my god, I'm remembering incorrectly. It does show the dialogue, but they are all associated with fucking emojis. And then there are like 50 different emojis that mean different things.
I'm afraid to ask what happens in the others in that series, right? Like there's a 3 and isn't there like an Inquisition and then all the other ones?
Here you go. Here is the list of them. I found it. Here's the list of emojis that show up next to all your dialogue prompts. to help you know what each of them means.
Okay, but they and you're saying that you highlight them for a bit and then they update.
Yeah, I believe so.
You're saying that these things change when you highlight.
No. I'm incorrect.
Okay.
They did show the dialogue, but they did switch it over to emojis, and instead of a whole wheel, I believe you often only get like
diplomatic icon, helpful, humorous, charming, aggressive, combat.
I don't understand the purpose of having the emojis while also having like 40 of them.
Okay, so this becomes something good if you have the normal dialogue wheel with one of these next to them, so it's more information. So in the same way that a Paragon and Renegade choice is a red and a blue line, you know, and then if you recall, I asked that there would be a yellow line for a committal point, moving forward point, you know, things like that, for like move the conversation forward. If you have a line of dialogue that's normal and then next to that it says combat, you're like, oh, this is gonna start a fight, you know. So that's not bad to have. I can see that you have to design a game with that in mind, because sometimes, for example, disco, you kind of want people to not know where their choices are going to lead, and then you fucking shit your ass into an amazing sequence by taking a risk on a red check, you know? So that can be built in. But like in this type of game, if it's something to just give you more information on a normal dialogue choice, that's good. If this is the only info you've got to go on, that's horrible.
No, you're right. I misremembered it as
okay.
as being worse than it was.
Okay.
What I am definitely not misremembering it being worse than it was the art style change.
Okay.
The art style change is
so
astonishing.
I see this,
I just
but
sent you a picture of an ogre man.
Yeah.
I am now trying to find a picture of it. Oh, this is the shot. This is the fucking screenshot. Oh, this is what I want. Here we go. So I sent him a picture of the purple ogre from Dragon Age 1, and I'm sending him that fucking photo of a guy jumping at the ogre in Dragon Age 2.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. Wow, that's so much worse. Okay. Yeah. 11 months.
11 months, yeah.
11 months.
It's like you in hindsight now, like, oh man, why'd they make it different? They made it different so they could make it faster. But like, yeah, no, it has created this bizarre, like almost DMC2 situation.
Anyway, that era is obviously
DMC2 though.
Yeah. That era obviously was like a fucking hilarious, just like thing to look back on, the Clown Shoes decisions. But I mean, step one with any of these games is like it needs to have a writer fucking write, man.
Mm-hmm.
You need like you have to start there and have them write in a really like fucking fleshed out ass way. You know, you can build a game that is going light on narrative in a shorter period of time if you wanted to, but you should still give the writing a chance. In these games, like fucking 1 year, that's so insane for this and for KOTOR, and like, man, EA fucking
and then Dragon
didn't
Age
understand
Inquisition
what made their games good.
Inquisition came out, and Inquisition's like, okay, and because of the like the cratering of the graph, people went, oh my, it's good again. It's like, it's not actually, it's like fine, but it's definitely better.
What an incredible history of like not understanding why things are good, but having the money to acquire them anyway, and then stepping in to try and just force it, you know, squeeze blood from the stone. Like, this is what it's been for years, but I
also want to point out that this series, so Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, Dragon Age 1, Dragon Age 2, and there's one other, but are from the era of the most confusing DLC rollout ever, specifically for BioWare, where you couldn't just buy your DLC for your PC game on Steam. You had to buy it from the BioWare store.
Oh no.
With BioWare points.
Oh god.
And then when I went into, like, I wanted to replay Mass Effect before the trilogy re-release came out, and I discovered that the BioWare store no longer exists.
Of course not.
And in order to download it, I had to somehow figure out that what it wanted me to do was log in to Origin under my BioWare store account credentials. And then it added it to my account. And I own 2 versions of Dragon Age Origins on my PC. One in which I bought all the DLC through the BioWare social thing, and one was the greatest hits that came with all the DLC. But the one that already has all the DLC can't actually put the DLC into my Steam account because it's already linked to my BioWare social account that no longer exists.
I was about to say, well, obviously you're supposed to just wait for the Legendary Edition and then go buy that, because fuck you, you can't get the pieces. Wow.
Like I
Wow.
don't
There's
like if I
always a
wanted to play.
story.
How long is what, sir?
I said there's always a story with these
Oh yeah.
fucking things.
Like I don't know how if I wanted to play Dragon Age Origins right now, I would probably install the Ultimate Edition, go to log in, and it tell me that I don't have the DLC on the Ultimate Edition that I bought. Because
And and like is DLC like characters as well as like campaign stuff?
oh yeah.
Yeah, missions, all that
Wooly,
shit. Yeah,
don't
that's
forget
the
in
era.
Mass Effect 2, the
Yeah.
Dragon Age Origins
Armor.
future armor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in Dragon Age, there's the fucking, I think in Dragon Age 2, there's the Commander Shepard armor. Or the N7 armor for, it's like, oh man.
The worst of
Oh
the era.
man.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, in any case, though, you know, so far so good. I just do have to say that, like, the part where every time you start a new game, the codex just refreshes with all the old shit, without just putting the slightest indicator of what's old and what's new.
Because they're all new, they're technically new entries.
I hate it.
I also hate it.
Just say what's already been in the last game. The audio quality in 2 made it obvious, but still, just put a little color. Make a yellow, make a blue, a red, and then you know.
You're supposed to be playing these games 18 months to 2 years apart.
Yeah, of course.
At which point you would actually want
reread
to go
the codex
through
anyways.
all the codex again.
Yeah.
Hey, Wooly, don't forget my favorite. So there's 2 stupid things that were said at the time. One is every time you hit a button, something awesome happens in Dragon Age 2, which was like hilarious. But never, ever, ever forget, now that you're playing Mass Effect 3, this is the perfect time to get into Mass Effect.
I mean,
there's never been a better place to start than right now.
Like if you put your brain in, like, if you fucking quantum leap into Paul Marketing's perfect, just like ignorant gamer that's like, I don't know, but all the aliens are blowing up Earth. We gotta stop them. They got that kid. I'm gonna do it for him. And then whenever a character comes up and goes, Shepard, what the fuck were you doing in the last game? And you're like, I don't know. It's just like, like, don't worry about it. It's like when you're watching a movie and 2 characters don't like each other, but it happened before the movie started. It's just backstory. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know? When Game of Thrones started rolling, you didn't know why these people were beefing, but it happened before. Don't worry about it.
So
we got to stop them.
It's been a little bit, and I'm a little unclear, but like the biggest problem with telling people that they can start now is that there are optimal outcomes to many of the story beats that have been built up over the trilogy, and people who are starting brand new can't get a bunch of them.
Yes, I realized. I realized starting with 2 that like the options for starting a new save were you never met any side questers. End of story. That's it. That content's gone, and now that plus any other continuing through line is just auto set to, like, there's pass fail and then there's NA does not exist, which might as well just be fail. So overall, how does your game play when a brand new Shepard walks into town and doesn't know anything and hasn't done anything? Is it a significantly worse story? Probably. The most interesting things about the franchise so far have been those moments, those characters, and those decisions, you know? Yeah. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. But, you know, looking forward to just more expansion, more conversations with the people that are fun to talk to. I want to... Yeah, I just want... Go ahead.
I have a piece of news about Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Edition on Steam.
Sure.
I downloaded it in the past few minutes, and get to the part where it's installing the Microsoft requirements, and it goes, "Hey, you need to activate your DLC on your copy of Dragon Age Origins. Use the CD key here," and then it links you to the website gobioware.com/dragonage/pc/DLC activate en. At which point I am met with a 404 because that website no longer exists. I actually have no way of playing Dragon Age Ultimate that I bought all those years ago.
Ooh, yeah. There you go.
There's just no way.
That's what you get, gamer. That's what you deserve.
Like I think the stated explanation to this is go rebuy it on Origin, loser.
PC Master Race, right? Oh, man. Yep.
The GOG version just works? Yeah, I guess so. Wow, that is... I'm going to go to the store page and see what it fucking says, because that's just terrible. Oh my god. EA's the worst. Like, Activision's the worst, but EA's also the worst.
I mean, they don't care. They don't have a reason to care. And how many people, so what if you complain about it? Fuck off. Get our re-release if we ever decide to make one. End of story. Yeah. Wow. Is there a robust modding community for those games mirroring the Mass Effect community? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because,
Dragon Age has, Origins has way more mods, actually.
I have to assume that, at the end of the day, the fans figured it out, and jumping on those mod forums and such would probably just solve all problems and then some. Well, in any case, that's how that's going.
EA's such a fucking piece of shit.
Okay.
That was the worst of their eras.
Or maybe the one to come.
Oh, maybe. Who knows?
Now that palms have been greased and the FTC has decided to go forward and allow, never mind the antitrust, the merger continues.
Oh, yeah? Is that how that's happening? Great.
Yeah. Well, you see, last time we talked about it, there were 3 nays and 1 yay from the FTC board in favor of the acquisition. So 3 people thought no. But then... it's become 50-50. So someone has changed their mind.
Wonder if they got a new car.
I wonder I don't know what could have changed a mind, really. What
no idea.
What changes the nature of a man?
What could?
What can change the nature of a man,
Oh, you know what? That reminds me, Woolie. Mm-hmm. Dragon Age 1 to 2 has the distinction of being the only existing game series that went from pick dialogue out of a list to the wheel. Like, Mass Effect started with the wheel, and Baldur's Gate had the dialogue, and Planescape had the dialogue, but Dragon Age has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as options, and then Dragon Age 2 has the wheel, and it's...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Fallout did it. Yeah, Fallout, but that was later. And also Fallout's wheel is the worst of them all.
I did get to see a bit of that Fallout wheel as well. Could you imagine playing disco with a fucking wheel to get through? Just imagine that.
It would be like alcohol, a picture of a dick, a fist,
money, and a dollar sign.
Oh, $sign, yeah. Okay.
A $sign.